Hello there guys, it's Michael here, and today I'm going to help you get better bending on your guitar in less than 5 minutes. Now, the bending technique is one of the most difficult to master. It's one of the most physically demanding techniques on the guitar, and one of the ones that separates the great players from the good players. You can be a good guitar player, but if you don't have your bending technique down, it's always going to sound somewhat lousy or somewhat average. But if you can master the technique of bending, it's going to really be the icing on the cake of all the other techniques that you can already do. Now, as I said before, what makes bending so hard is the fact that it is very physically demanding. But one of the secrets of when it comes to bending is the fact that it's not about the technique itself. And yes, technique is important, but 80% of bending is actually one simple little thing. And it's not the technique. The technique is only 20% of that. Are you ready for a secret? The secret to really good bending is listening. And that might seem simple, but most people just fire off their bends and try and play. How often do you hear that in Guitar Center on a Saturday afternoon? People just going for it, and it's super sloppy, it's super all over the place. That's because they are not listening to what they're doing. So if you want to have better bending, all you need to do is listen to what you're playing, listen for the note that you're targeting, and before you know it, you'll be hitting accurate bends every single time. Now, if you want to hit a bullseye on a target, the first thing you need to do is to look at that target and aim, and that's the mistake that most guitar players make when they're trying to do this bending technique. They're not aiming at anything, they're just bending and hoping for the best. So the exercise which I'm about to give you is going to help you develop your ear for bending and help you develop a stronger bending technique. So let's get into it. What we're going to do is go to fret number 12 on string number 2, because it's relatively easy to bend there. And what you're going to do is you're going to play fret number 12 and you're going to listen to that note. Get that note in your inner ear. Get that in your short-term memory. Then what you're going to do is bend fret number 11 on the same string until you hear the note you just heard at fret number 12. And you want to bend and slide up to it and stop when you get the right note. So what we're doing here is we are training ourselves to listen for when we've bent to the right notes. And once we get there, we've also trained our fingers to know how much they need to push before they arrive at that destination. So we are training our ear and also training the memory of how much effort we need for our hands as well. So it's a double whammy of an exercise. We play the note and then we bend up to it. Now we want to make sure we're not over bending. We don't want this. That's too much. Likewise, you want to make sure you're listening and not under bending. You don't want to come just a little bit short. That's one of the big tells that you are an amateur player or you haven't quite worked on your bending technique, the fact that you overshoot it or you don't quite get to it. But it's a basic exercise, super simple, guys. You just play the note and then you bend up to it. And even if your guitar's not in tune, you will still be able to train yourself properly because it's completely relative to the notes that you play. So from here, there's a couple of different things we can do. The first thing is we can just pick out a different note on the same string or any other string and just do a half step bend. So if I play fret number 10, then I bend fret number 9 up until I hear the same note. And you want to train yourself to keep on getting closer and closer to that note until you nail it every time. And your ear will, number one, instinctively guide you there if you are a little bit out of tune or a little bit over or under. But two, your hands will start to develop the muscle memory of how much effort they need for each bend, which is very, very important. So continue to find notes around the fretboard on different strings. Sometimes if you're on string 4 or 5, for example, you won't bend too often on those strings there, but you might want to pull it down towards the floor there. But the basic idea and exercise there, guys, is the fact that you're going to play a note and then have a couple of runs at playing it 3, 4, 5 times until you can consistently hit it. And then when you are consistently hitting it, play another note and go about finding that. So you can do that for a couple of minutes. 2 or 3 minutes is absolutely fine, because remember, when you're starting out, bending is very hard and you're going to get very, very sore fingers and sore hands from it. But once you get the hang of that, we're going to go from half step bends to whole step bends. So for example, if I was playing the 12 before, I would have to bend fret 10 2 steps below up into that fret number 12. So it's going to be a lot trickier, because you have to put in a little bit more effort. And of course, the next step after this is to do 3-step bends. And probably not something I recommend for beginners or anyone on an acoustic guitar, but it is possible to train yourself to do those really big long bends, kind of like what Steve Lukather would do there. But guys, that is the basic exercise, and what you want to do is incorporate that into a 5-minute part of your practice routine a couple of times a week. The main thing is to remember to hear the note first. Play the note. You want to aim at the target before you fire the arrow at the target. You want to be listening for the note that you want to play before you bend towards that note. And what will happen a couple of months down the track from all this hard work and effort that you're putting in, you'll just start to hear those sounds in your inner ear, or as you're playing over backing tracks or chord progressions, your ear will basically guide you in the right direction, and you'll have that muscle memory of how much effort you need to put into those bends. Now, an extension of this exercise to make things a little bit easier if you have a smartphone is to just record yourself playing a note 5 times in a row. Let's sustain for a couple of counts just like this. Do that 5 times in a row, and then record a different note 5 times in a row, and then a different note, and then press play and play back along to your recording. That way you'll practice actually holding the note, and if you can't quite memorize the note or your ear isn't 100% yet, that will give you the note to play along to, and you can try and match that pitch. So if you are having trouble playing along to this exercise and you're finding it really difficult, just record yourself on your phone or any other recording device you've got, and then try and match the note that you've previously played. Write them down. Don't make it a memory game or a guessing game. We don't need that added layer of complexity to it, but write down what you're playing, try and match it, and before you know it, you'll have really, really good ears, and you'll have developed the muscle memory of the bending techniques. You can bend more accurately and sound like you're in tune. So guys, that's it for this video. If you found it helpful, please like and subscribe. I want to give you more great content like this, where I'm telling you not just what to practice, but showing you exactly how to practice so you can develop elite guitar skills. If you've got a question, or you've got an issue, or you need help with a specific technique, then by all means, leave it in the comments below, and I will get around to making a video to help you out with that. So guys, thanks once again, and we'll see you in the next video.